Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new malicious compliance stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
First one is titled, Parent says it's not our business what her son does on the community garden, so we let him get up to his neck in shit literally. Happened just a couple of hours ago. This story is so fresh you can still smell it. On our community garden, we get teams of kids from the local school come to help, and it's often the case that they turn up on a Saturday morning as well. They're almost entirely well behaved, which is a good job as there's not a lot we can do about bad behavior beyond a stern voice, although one time a lad kicked one of our rabbits so a girl brained him with a shovel, rough but effective justice. There's this one lad who came for the first time last week, don't know him but we made him very welcome. He only lasted half an hour before storming off in tears after his third telling off for spinning round and round holding a tool and then letting it fly off at head height. This morning his mum, I assume, came with him. I saw him point out my friend and me, but he didn't ask to join in, so after shouting hello we let him be. After about 10 minutes he started wandering and my friend shouted to him, "Don't go round behind the greenhouse mate, it's not safe round there." Well, his mum had obviously been waiting for this because she went 0 to 100 in 2 seconds flat, demanding to know, do we own this garden, and if not, what business is it of ours where her son goes? We explained we just want him to be safe, and she replied that she's quite capable of taking care of that herself, thank you. Fine, on you go. Off he went, exploring behind the greenhouse, which is not safe because it's the compost heap, which is very unstable, and the muck mound, which is a giant pile of horse manure we get delivered every autumn. By the spring the inside is all nice and rotted down, and the outside is hard, crusty and less strong than you think. After a minute there was a crunch, a squeal, and I think we did very well to drag him out without saying, "I told you so," or breaking into guffaws. He was absolutely black from chest height downwards, and although well-rotted manure doesn't smell really bad, it is very thick, and sticky, and slimy. His mum grabbed him without a word and they headed for the gate. He started bawling as soon as the surprise wore off. My friend said, "Would you like some bin bags to spread out in your car?" and to her credit she did say thanks when he handed them over. I wonder if we'll see them again next week. Edit, to everyone saying we should have made a point of some kind. If you're mean to kids or they think you're making fun of them, they just don't come back. Kids, and adults, do stupid crap all the time, and you quickly get into the habit of just dusting them down and getting on with things. Don't get me wrong, we definitely laugh about it later, but how's a little knobhead like this going to learn, if he doesn't come back to the allotment and get his hands dirty? Next one is titled, He said take me to court so I did. It started in December 2019 and finished a few weeks ago. So context, I was selling an item of clothing in a FB group. I wanted either something bigger, trade, or to sell it. This guy, call him Dick, D for short, messages me and asks for a trade. That's all fine and we both send off our items. Weeks go by and I go to message him to say I haven't received it, but he's blocked me. I got my girlfriend to message him and he instantly unblocked me and was cocky, saying that he'll return my item if it's that big of a deal. Alright, fine. So I wait and COVID comes, then August, I remember. He's blocked me again. Girlfriend messages him and he blocks her. So I told my mum, I know, and he apologized and said he'd pay me at the end of the month. Again, okay. End of the month comes and I get a message, if you message any of my family, I'll get you done for harassment and I'll get a non-molestation order against you. A non-molestation order is type of injunction that may be sought by a victim of domestic abuse against their abuser. I've never met this guy, so like. Anyways, the message ends with, take me to court then. I called so many lawyers on this, but because it was £45, they wouldn't take it. So I sent him a letter saying he's gotta pay or I'll take him to small claims. He sent my item back after 9 months and said it was stuck at the post office. I opened it and it was disgusting. It was covered in animal hair and had sweat stains galore over it. I messaged him saying it was disgusting and he could have it back if he paid, but he replied, "Guess I'll see you in court." So I went through with small claims. He sent his defense in, saying it was a gift and blah 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 whatever. He also said I sent him abuse. So I'm upset at this point. Our court hearing was £25 and I'd paid £25 for it to be sent to court originally, so I was going through with it. I sent in every piece of evidence I had, every chat log and pictures. March came around and a few weeks before, I was going ham looking through court docs. I even called the Royal Mail to ask them questions about post offices and times and shipping. I literally spent all day, every day focusing on this day. Court day arrives and I answer the phone. Judge is lovely, then she tries calling him twice, he doesn't answer. After some back and forth, she's upset and she said, given that I've called D twice and he didn't answer and he hasn't submitted any evidence, I rule in your favor. So I've gotten £95 and my item back. I got the court letter yesterday and yup, it's ruled in my favor and he has 21 days to pay or it'll be taken further. Ha ha, I win. All this over £45. I'm petty and proud. Next one is titled, My boss told me to find another job, so I did, right when they needed me the most. Earlier today I was reading a story about a shitty manager that bullied someone into quitting their job. I decided to share a similar experience. Back when I was still working in HR, I got a great job offer. This was a publicly funded company with huge cultural impact, really the definition of an institution. Everyone who learned I worked there couldn't help but to feel slightly amazed at the discovery. Some people even rudely implying I had friends in the right places. Never mind, I was a recently graduate clueless young man with nothing to my name. This was my first real job too. Not counting internships or smaller summer jobs. As such, I really tried my best to be helpful and kind to everyone on my first year there, and maybe that's why I became a target. After I secured a permanent contract with them, with incredibly shitty pay and no benefits at all, I might add, one particular co-worker got pretty salty about my position in the office, although, for all intents and purposes, I was still beneath pretty much everyone there. This culminated in getting a call from this person, 30 minutes after I had left work, asking about a pile of papers she couldn't find. I remembered I had actually kept those papers on my desk and tell her to look there. I apologize profusely and ask her if she wants me to go back to help her deal with it. She simply says no, and that everything is all right. Now, this was the type of coworker that always did the bare minimum and still whine about it at every chance she had. I never thought much of it, after all she was a mum and as such, she probably was pretty tired all the time. But I never thought she would turn on me because she had to stay at work for 30 more minutes looking for a pile of papers. Half the time I would have to stay 1 or 2 hours after work to deal with my workload, so I thought it was no big deal. The next day, I again apologized to my co-worker but immediately noticed something wasn't quite right about the way she was acting with me. Throughout the day, I noticed her going out of the office with co-workers, sending them messages and letting out these poisonous little laughs to herself every time I opened my mouth to say anything. From that day on, this was one of the people that decided to make my life a living hell. I made some friends in this place too, some of them became really great friends that I still hang out and treasure to this day. But for the most part, it was an absolute hellhole. Here are some of the things that I experienced over my 3-year stay. 1. Got one of the most important people in the company publicly shaming me for participating in an interview wearing sneakers. Keep in mind that no dress code was defined for interview or any other corporate event and I had always worn sneakers. 2. A sadistic manager who, on good days, would talk crap about everyone she had to work with and on bad days would downright bully and verbally assault me in front of other co-workers. 3. A co-worker who would often raise rumors about me based on nothing, the same who turned on me because of 30 extra minutes on the job. 4. A co-worker who, for no good reason, sprayed me and my friends with a fire extinguisher and HR who refused to do anything about it, etc. I don't pretend that I was the perfect worker. I mean, it was my first job, I made a ton of mistakes and probably pissed a lot of people off. But I'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who could deal with this toxic workplace and keep their mental stability. All of this pushed me to a point of near nervous breakdown, and one day I just couldn't take it anymore. It's a day just as any other. At some point after lunch, I come back into the office to find my coworker sitting at her desk all by herself. Weird, I thought. She usually came back from lunch way after I did. Obviously sulking, she acknowledges my presence by immediately accusing me of hiding papers to prevent her from doing her job. Keep in mind, it's been almost 3 years since she called me after work hours and our relationship soured. This day would be the climax of that seething hatred we had both cultivated for one another. I shrug and tell her I have no idea what she's talking about. Never seen such papers and certainly have nothing to do with the situation. I sit down, also upset now but ready to move on and not waste any more time on this subject. My manager comes in and notices something has happened. The tension is palpable. Before she has the chance to ask what's up, my coworker pipes up. Well, you see, what's happening is that Kono_Kermit_Dar is a liar. What? In all of my 3 years there, I never raised my voice, never talked back, never shown a hint of defiance until that very ducking moment. I can't deal with anyone calling me a liar. It's one of the things that makes me go absolutely insane with rage. I immediately cut her off and tell her how much of a toxic witch she is. I wasn't nice or even professional about it, and I really don't regret it. I didn't use any swear words, but I was definitely very personal about the way I responded. I can see their surprise. They never thought I would fight back. They expected me to take it and shut up forever. Things go downhill from here for me. My witch of a co-worker gets transferred somewhere else, but I'm told I have to undergo behavioral training. For the first time in years I'm not taking crap, and I let my manager know I'm not interested. I had been humiliated for 3 years and finally stood up for myself. I wasn't going to be punished for that. My boss calls me to her office. Began asking weird questions like, "Are you happy here?" and "What do you want to do in the future?" I told her about my grievances and how toxic this work culture is. In no uncertain terms, she tells me, "You know, we have to renew your contract soon. But if you're not happy here, I would find a job somewhere else." What? I had given this company some of the best years of my youth. I worked for them day and night, going the extra mile even when they didn't ask me to, for what amounted to be a little more than minimum wage. Their payback? Punishing me for standing up for myself once. Well, the problem for them is I had been learning how to program while working. I would get off work late in the evening, go home and drag my exhausted body to my laptop to study up to 4 or 5 hours of coding. I realized I really liked coding. Like, a lot. Unbeknownst to them, I had begun taking small coding projects for no pay, as having other paid jobs was forbidden in this company, and soon I was thinking of launching a career as a web developer. My contract ended and I expected to receive a call in 1 or 2 weeks to come by and sign the new contract. This was the usual process for workers like me. Weeks go by and I honestly believe they just decided to not hire me back. Didn't bother me. After all, I was already looking for a new job before my contract was even over. 3 months later, I get a call from my manager. "Hi Kono_Kermit_Dar. How are you? Listen, we got your new contract here. Why don't you come by to sign it? If you sign it today, we can have you back by Monday." She goes on to tell me how much work there's been lately and how they really need me back as soon as possible. All the projects I had worked on were halted because no one else wanted to work on them, a quarter of a year after they dropped me with no word of hiring me back. At this point, however, I was getting plenty of interviews for IT companies who were genuinely interested in my skills and portfolio. "Thank you, I'm not coming back." The silence on the other end of the call was so sweet. My manager asks me to pass by anyway. She would like a word with me, and I still had my personal belongings at my desk. I agreed, figuring this was the only chance I'd have to stick it back to them after 3 years of abuse. She sat me down with a disgustingly saccharine attitude that she would seldom display while I was working for them. The whole meeting was essentially a desperate attempt to bring me back into the company and me refusing it at each turn. That's okay, she said. What are you going to do, then? I told her I'd work as a programmer. My reply is met with laughter. I remained silent. That's good, she continued, I'm sure you can do it. But you know, I would seriously consider staying with us. I reiterate I'm not interested and even let her know I'm moving away in a couple of months. Again, she laughs at me. Apparently, my plans for the future were so extraordinarily out of my reach in her opinion, that she just couldn't help but to laugh, just a last little slap on my face. Finally she asks, why would you want to leave us? I shrugged, unable to contain my smile. You people told me to get a job if I wasn't happy here. I'm just following your suggestion. Much to my manager's chagrin, I did land a job in web development, and after I left this job because I wanted to immigrate, my employer liked my work so much he asked me to keep working for them remotely until I found another job in my destination. I've been working as a web developer for 3 years now, and every single day I look back at my previous career and wipe the sweat off my forehead knowing I dodged a lifetime of misery and abuse. As for my previous workplace, they're still going strong. After all, it is a huge institution and my part in it wasn't that important, but my team was pretty badly hit. Without me they couldn't perform interviews and keep some of their projects going. For a couple of months, the whole thing was hot garbage until they unfortunately hired another clueless recent graduate. But honestly, knowing those people have to wake up and go to work in the hell they have personally created, feels like enough of a punishment for me. Hope they find the inner peace they want so badly. Next one is titled, Not Allowed to Work Overtime? I'll enjoy my Friday off. So, I'm full-time hourly at my job, which we all know means work weeks are 40 hours then go home. However, my job requires me to work overtime every few weeks during busy seasons because it's just the nature of the job. On Monday, my general manager flipped out on my coworker asking why she hit OT last week. She simply replied, well, you worked me 6 days straight and all of those days I was expected to work a full 8-hour day. If you don't want me hitting OT, don't work me 6 days straight. Fast forward to Tuesday, after said co-worker told me about the conversation she and GM had, I was told I'd be working 7 days straight, Monday to this Sunday. I mentioned I would hit OT, so co-worker said I should work it and tell GM the same that she told him. I was told, no OT unless it's approved. My happy butt said, that's fine. Friday will be my day off then, so don't contact me about doing work-related things. Today is Friday. I took the day off. I was blown up about work things that they needed help with and were so important, and I enjoyed my day on the couch searching for a rental for my vacation coming up at the beginning of the summer. Either pay me the OT or don't complain when things don't get done. Next one is titled, I had a question about junk fees. Mortgage lender condescendingly told me, don't sign it then, instead of answering the questions. So I didn't. Now he's calling begging because he personally lost $9,000 and lost $20,000 for his company. I'm currently trying to buy a house and was given the loan agreement with the fee sheet and all that. They were overpriced by around $6,000 more than all their competitors. I originally was dealing with one guy who was nice, turns out he's not the one that does the loans. It's another guy who is the biggest douchebag. I didn't like him from the first time I spoke to him because he asked me for a number to call for my employment and I said, who are you going to call? So I can give him that number. And he tells me, whoever picks up the phone. Anyways. He wants me to pay him $9,000 cash in a lending fee up front. Most places add it on to the loan, so you pay it over the life of the loan and it only adds about $20 onto your monthly payment, which makes a lot more sense than having to pay this one guy $9,000 cash plus another $11,000 to his company for paperwork and stuff. I called him about the fees and that wasn't even the one I was questioning. I was questioning a $200 credit report. They're usually around $30, at most $80. I said I'm not going to pay $200 for a credit report. So he said, yeah, I could be $30, it could be $80, it could be $200, I don't know, so I have to estimate high. I said, I'm not going to sign something that says I agree to pay $200 for a credit report. In a scoffing dickhead voice he said, don't sign it then. Obviously I'm not signing it, and that's why I'm calling you, because if I don't sign it we can't do the loan. So I just said, okay. And we got off the phone. I immediately start getting calls from the owner of the place, who was the original one I dealt with, saying, oh my gosh, what happened? I was next to him and heard the whole thing. No, he didn't mean it like that, and I hear him in the background trying to explain himself. Anyways, I got another guy to do it within minutes of getting off the phone with him. He is wonderful and sweet and nothing like that, and I love it, and I don't have to pay him $9,000 up front, so my total costs will be less than half of the other people, and he's nice. The other place is still harassing me because I dropped the deal with them and they're begging me to sign the papers. Anyways, now they owe me my $5,000 deposit, and I can't wait to send them the cancellation of contract and have them give it back to me. Thanks for listening.